Well, it looks like no video tonight. So, as long as everybody can hear me, I guess we'll be okay. I'll go over something tonight that kind of bothers me. That there are certain aspects of our society that that disturb me the most. I don't know. Can you hear me? Am I loud and clear? No video, but loud and clear. So YouTube no longer seems to be YouTube. All right, good deal. There's some things that disturb me the most. Today I sent out an email that was fairly simple, talking about free things. Free things are a problem, right? Especially when it comes to matters of spirituality. It's hard to tell if it's going to be worth it. I mean, you can look through all of the books on Ostru and look through them, and they're all going to say the same thing, except for mine. They're all going to be just a reiteration of the stories in the Poetic and the Prosetta. That's it. I'm the only one that's written a book that looks anything different than just a recreation of those stories or a change in the wording or some kind of horse shit that somebody comes up with. So, yeah, I'm going to toot my own horn because I'm good enough to do that. But there's some things that go with that people expect shit for free. They can join a Facebook group. They can get on this or get on that and never really have to make any sacrifice to get into the game. They can go online. They can buy a hammer, or they can go to whatever church and buy a suit and go to church, or they can buy a sarong or a swami or whatever it is they wear and sit down cross-legged and call themselves Buddhist or Hindu, and then rail against the inequity of somebody telling them, you can't tell me I'm not doing it right. This is my path. Yeah. This is kind of the reason I went with what I did last week. Some people didn't like it. Everybody's got to take their own journey. And it's very easy for me to get wrapped up in becoming involved in that other person's journey because, well, I think they're doing it wrong. That don't help anything. That don't help anything if I get wrapped up in that thought process, right? But like I say, it's hard to tell if it's going to be worth it if we buy into it. And if we get it for free, it probably ain't worth it. Now, that it's an amazing thing of how many people believe something should be free, as if the cumulative knowledge I've written in the books ought to be free of charge. You're just trying to sell a product. Well, no shit. You think I'm going to give it to you? If you ain't got nothing invested in it, why would you value it? The other thing is that if they pay for it and they disagree with something I've written, well, then they're a sucker. Oh, well, I don't agree with what he wrote. I can go in here and get some free stuff, and all these other people agree with me, and it's free. And see that then if they buy it and they disagree, then they're a sucker. Oh, he fooled me. He lied to me. This isn't what he really. Oh my gosh. What amazes me is when people do it when it's free. See, that goes for just about any faith, religion, spiritual path, anything. But now it also apparently includes healthcare, secondary education, and of a nation of 330 million people, there are 40 million of them on SNAP benefits in the country. Well, it appears free food is free as well. It's kind of a double-edged sword. I like the fact that we live in a society that people get to eat their hearts, get to be full, to have full bellies. I think that's a good thing, right? Here's the double-edged sword. As long as the government is subsidizing that kind of food and education and healthcare, employers don't need to give raises. Nobody ever thinks about that shit. We got a whole generation of people going into the workforce now that they're okay if they don't get better pay or a good job career path or any of the things, as long as somebody gives them the like that they get on Facebook for a job well done, or just doing what they're supposed to be doing to begin with. So that's, I think, I see a lot of people online with regards to doing this or doing that. And I'll never forget what Juanita told me. She's like, I don't see why I need to be patting you on the back for doing what you should have been doing all along. So if we getting this kind of stuff going on, employers don't need to raise wages. They can continue to make money hand over fist, which is what a company is designed to do. Make money, generate profits for the investors, the people that built the company, right? The bondholders, to produce a product for society so that society can benefit from the cumulative knowledge and ideas of an individual. It has no other social responsibility beyond that. And every single time they've tried to do it, well, they failed. See, if they didn't do all those things and subsidize those things, and people work 9 to 5 for just regular pay, get some SNAP benefits and some few other things, and make it just scrape by, have enough to pay the bills and have a TV and cable and have enough food on the table, they can get up and go to work. If they didn't, people would quit those shitty jobs and they'd go get a better job, wouldn't they? But the government's paying for a lot of it, so no need to do that. See, subtle changes have been made here and there to make sure we don't upset the apple cart by insisting that one person who usually needs it the most doesn't have to change anything and they can still feel good about their path. See, most free things have an ulterior motive. Mine does too. I'm going to be real clear about it. That daily email I send out, or semi-daily email, some days it's pretty hard lately. Yeah, I like it when people click on the links. I like it when they check it all out. But at the beginning of next year, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to put all of these posts into a book and have a book of days, a Norse pagan Austro-heathen book of days for the 21st century. See, I wrote the last one in 2000, published it in 2013, wrote it in 2012, and changed all kinds of things for heathenry. And I'm going to take a year and I'm going to do it again. But you see, there's some days that writing this email is a challenge. I can't think of anything to write. Very difficult some Sundays to figure out what to say. I can always go over the lore. I've gone over it enough times. I know most of it like the back of my hand. And all of it's on YouTube or in a book or on my Patreon or somewhere along the way. I've made a post about it or talked about it, and everybody kind of understands where I stand. But the things I put in these emails are a broader spectrum and foundation for life as a whole. There are people that read these that are not pagan or heathen. Some of them are Hindu. Some of them are Hellenistic. Some of them may even practice Kemetism. Some of them are witches. Some of them are Christians, and some of them are Satanists. Guess what happens when these high-minded ideals begin to merge at this level instead of spread out like this level? We begin to understand the why of why we're doing these things. See, when I get lost in these things, when I get to the point where I don't know what to write about, it's because I'm just coasting through life. It's because I figured out how to be comfortable, and I'm not applying any pressure to do or be anything more than I already am. That's why I want to hang out with people that say, yeah, go for it. Let's figure it out. Let's make it happen. See, my first sergeant used to tell me in the Army, he always said, you're either moving up or you're moving out. Plain and simple. And he wasn't wrong. And it's that way. I take that philosophy very hard and true and fast and true. It's if you're not moving up, you're moving out. Figure it out. And it's very difficult to figure that part out. Well, am I moving up? I don't know. Are you doing the best you can do with what you got in front of you? Or are you still expecting somebody to give you something for free? See, the thing about it is most of the reason I write this and give this away for free is that I know it's part of a larger, longer process that's going to yield magnificent dividends for me in the future. See, what will it take for us to change the way we perceive the value of our effort in any given endeavor? I know some people that say, you need to be getting charged, you need to be getting paid for that right now. Well, I do on my Patreon. Those individuals that are consistent enough, that feel like there's something else to learn, there's something more to understand, sign up for the Patreon. Because as much material as there is on YouTube, I have that much and more on Patreon. That volume of material, there's no other also true Norse pagan heathen individual in the world that has made this much material and written 60 books on top of it. I didn't do it for free. See, there's another concept that goes with it that involves the idea of wealth. Wealth goes far beyond just having some money in my pocket. No, there's no video, Leroy. I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on with it tonight. That's just life in the fast lane, I suppose. So, as a voice in the darkness, let me come upon you as the voice of the divine. That's right. Nothing is free. There's always a price to be paid. We have to make some kind of sacrifice for it. We have to do something that we had to give up for it to garner that. It might be just a moment of time. We had to take the time to go through the internet and find this document so we can read it and understand some more. And then we're done with it. All right. But it's most of the people that read this, they've decided there's a better way. They've decided that they've made changes to their faith. I mean, I want you to think about how magnificent a happening that is in somebody's life. They've been kicking along through rocks, kicking the rocks, trudging along the road to happy destiny, and finally they come to a point and they're like, fuck this shit. I'm going to try this over here. Or they hear a call. You know what? I'm going to see what that is. Maybe it's, and you know what? The funny thing is that we've all kind of figured out that's not the sirens luring us to the rocks. You know, I said that, and at the same token, all of a sudden I thought, yes, it is too. That's the sirens calling us to the harder way of life. Nobody ever said this was going to be easy. And there's some real challenging things. I'll tell you right now, people are not comfortable with being direct. People are not comfortable with the idea of confrontation. And all of a sudden, we adopt a way of life that says, I'm going to be honest about this stuff. I don't like you. You know what I mean? Those are hard things to say. I may not really care for you, but we're going to develop this, and this so we can move forward through the world together. Because we've both decided, yeah, I want to be in the U.S. Army Infantry, and it sucks. We embrace the suck. You know what? You know, that's what we have to ask is that what will it take for us to change the way we perceive the value of our effort in any given endeavor? We've really grabbed the bull by the horns and jumped off into this spirituality that worships these powerful gods and powerful goddesses, you know, doing magnificent things, setting all of these powerful examples that challenge us to rise up and be something more. But nowhere does it say we're going to do that for free and we're going to do that and expect somebody to give us something for it. See, all that endeavor, it has a worth, and money is the physical expression of that effort. It is a hard thing to realize, but I want you to realize right now, there are some kids right now, probably with people that you know, that are going to go to bed a little bit hungry tonight. And that's bullshit. People that are doing their level best using the tools they have and not willing to give up those tools because they're afraid that using the hammer might be harder than using the screwdriver. Depends on the job now, doesn't it? See, that realization that somewhere some people that we love got kids that are going to go to bed a little bit hungry tonight, and right now times is hard. That ought to be the stimulus to get up and try harder. I was talking with Shanae about it this morning. An idea that I have, this where we live is the end of the transportation line. There is not shit up here beyond us other than Canada, all right? This is the end of the road. That being said, there's a lot of services that could be capitalized on up here. Well, how do we do that? I work 10 to 8:30 every day, and sometimes I'm in earlier, and then I don't have much time in the morning, I don't have much time in the evening, and my weekends are pretty full. It's the only time we get to see each other, and so on, and it's challenging, it's scary, and we can't see how anything might work out. But I didn't understand how being each hour was going to work out when I started it either. I didn't understand how Willow Recycling was going to do any good when I started that in Utah, but it did. Little side hustle handling streams of waste and recycling that generated enough money to offset a paycheck. When we moved out there, the family had sold the farm, and basically I was of a mind that, you know what, all y'all can go piss up a fucking rope. What a damn dumb thing to do. None of this financing it, carrying the note, none of that. No, we want our money. And they got their money. By rights, they should have, because that's what Grandpa wanted. But by the same token, all I could think of was we're entering hard times as a nation and as a world, and we just gave away a piece of property that could take care of the entire family. When I moved to Utah, my mindset was, fuck it. I'm done with this dumb shit. I'm out of here. We lived in an extended stay Motel 6 while I got a job selling furniture. Made $500 a week. Right off the bat. $500 a week I started until I started making commission, and then kept going. Worked my ass off. Got paid, went in there, paid for the next week's stay in the extended stay Motel 6. And I'm going to say the Utah is a little bit nicer than everywhere else. It wasn't a dump. It wasn't a dive. It was reasonable. Scarlett was a little bitty girl, and every day I'd get off work, her and I would go wander through the hills and the mountains and the streams, and just her and I were always on high adventure. And then I got a job working at another furniture store, making deliveries and setting up for a high dollar thing. And then I started. They let me use their compactor, and I started. We would all be much better. And then I started compacting cardboard and selling it. And I started off with 1 bale a week and ended with 10 bales a week. And I just kept moving up and kept trying harder. And in the midst of that, I wrote 3 other books while I was sitting there that year. And I went on high adventures, and it was awesome. I was alive in those mountains. And now I'm here up in Utah. And once again, it's kind of like working in the power plants. I made enough money. I didn't have to do anything on the side. Now I'm making now I want to do more. Now there's a reason I need to do more. I expect a better standard of living, to reach out, to grab, to try to grow. It's a disturbing thing when a man of the things that I've done comes to the realization, buddy, you're just coasting. You are not moving the way you need to be moving. You are not doing what you need to be doing. See, and back to the point. Right now, there are people who are wondering just how they're going to make dinner this week. Payday's on Friday, maybe Thursday for some people that are lucky. They may have worked every single day, and they might even have some kind of side hustle. But you've got to add some pressure to it. You've got to be uncomfortable about it. It needs to be a risk, but you're not alone in it. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of formulas, patterns, examples of how to get where you want to be. My man Leroy here, I'm pretty sure he's got a pretty good one running, right? He just wrote another book about it. Once you put that up there so we know what it is too, put it in the comments so everybody understands what it is and where it's at, so we can share that out there and see what we got. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. Stupid little tidbits of information that we can use to get 3 or 4 streams of revenue or income coming in. Trying something, investing in ourselves, following a formula, a pattern, an example of how to get where we want to be. It's hard for people to buy into that stuff because, well, what if I do this and it don't work? What if I don't work this as hard as it says I need to work, and then I don't get the results that I expected to get? Would probably be the more accurate statement. B&E Tower, when I started that, I worked every single day making money. I remember one time I fell asleep at an intersection and woke up and had a wreck. Never forget. I just climbed, it was a Sunday, and I had driven across 4 states, climbed out on how many towers, and I just got done climbing a 400-foot stick on a Sunday to get my business going. The thing you got to ask yourself, what exactly is holding you back? But you got to be honest about it. Fear of failure. See, if you're waiting for the perfect setup, the perfect time, the perfect alignment of the sun, the moon, the stars, you'll be waiting this same time next year. So we have to stop waiting. We have to start doing. But more importantly, we got to give ourselves permission to learn from our mistakes. Because I think that's one of the things that holds so many of us back is this fear of, what if I make a mistake? What if I try this and I don't do very good at it and somebody laughs at me, or everybody knows, well, we knew you couldn't do it, but we just knew you couldn't do it. I don't know why you should have listened to us. You just need to get a regular job like everybody else. Get you a good union job. You can get out there and make some good money and retire. Yes, you can. You can get out there, work every day, live for the weekend, and retire. There you go. Thank you, Leroy. Both of those books, I highly recommend you check them out. From the Prison to Penthouse and Breaking the Pattern by Leroy Answer. This is a man that's out there trying. This is a man that's out there that figured out those formulas are worthwhile and put them together in a book in the hope that he could follow a dream as well. And he's probably also out there on Christmas Day, spreading hay, breaking ice, doing the kind of things that you do when you drive a truck and work a farm and write, and as an author. That's what counts. None of this stuff happens overnight. And I think that's the other thing that bothers so many people is that we expect it now. Shanae is doing her ironwood candles and gifts. It's all over Etsy. Well, ironwood candles and gifts. And she's knocking it out of the park with a hobby. And I'll never forget. And I'm going to talk about this, babe, so don't be too upset with me. Night before her first craft show, riddled with doubt. Nobody's going to buy anything. I'm not really sure. Went out there and made a couple $100 on a small craft show. Now she's selling them all over the place. Parties, booths, crafts, working a full-time job, raising 2 kids on her own, bought a house, come from behind like so many other people. See, these are the kind of inspirational stories we need to be sharing with each other. I started out at the very bottom, and I knew that I wanted something better for myself. I changed my faith and my spirituality, and I began to take this honest approach at life. I began to take a little bit of inventory of myself. I began to take a good, long, hard look at the people I was hanging out with. I began to ask for more and try for more and work harder and do right with my money. All of these things go together hand in hand, and we have a whole book full of gods and goddesses that have brass balls that know exactly how to make something happen, to change the world if they decide to do it. Yeah, well, see, still, in the word, craft shows and Facebook. So they get out there and try. I can't tell you how proud I am when I see somebody out there step up to the plate and try again. Coming up here is just, maybe that's what I needed to do. And maybe we need to think about that. Maybe that own aha moment I just had. Maybe I needed to get away from an area that was saturated with all of this work and try my hand on my own at some things that aren't available here. Just like the old real estate rule, it's location, location, location. See, but that's the thing. Even here in this little group, every one of us has an example of something we've done to change our lives for the better, put more money in our pockets and live better and be an example. Yep, there you go. Hook them up, get them together. These things, 40 and Brook, holy cow, that's an amazing, that's something to really be aware of. People start approaching 40 and they start realizing, shit, man, I wasted 20 years not doing shit. I wasted 20 years doing what everybody told me I ought to do so I could have the things that they had, but I never dared to reach out. Yes. 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 I'm the wellspring from which you flow. Yeah. That is a line by James Earl Jones in Conan. With he says it to Arnold Schwarzenegger, and it cracks me up. I think I was watching it with Shanae when it hit me. I must have laughed for 20 minutes about it. I am the wellspring from which you flow. Yes. That's another thing too. You can pump that well all you want when somebody's firing on all cylinders, and you ain't never going to run out of it. There'll be all kinds of people come, and they can pay attention, and they can listen, and they can go out and do wonderful and great and powerful things. And you can light 100 candles from one candle, and it's that light of the first candle is never diminished. What an amazing, amazing idea that such a thing is a reality for all of us. That we can go and we can give and we can give and we can give. Yeah. Yeah, that's when you get right down to it, I'm sure each of us has a wonderful story that our grandparents are proud to tell their ancestors about the wonderful people we've become. Sitting in the halls of our ancestors, wherever that may be. Holy cow. See, if that don't get you right in the heart, if a true understanding of that concept doesn't touch you right in the heart, I encourage you to figure out how to feel it. To know that your grandparents, wherever they may be, or your great grandparents, have the ability to brag about, yeah, he got his ass bucked off, but he sure did get back up, and look at him go. That's a blessing. That's the kind of blessing that we can we can rightfully place into that category of wealth. Anybody can go out there and steal that money, or fucking go out there and hustle somebody out of it, or go out there and rob, lie, cheat, steal, do whatever. But you get bucked off the horse, so to speak, to end up behind bars. I don't care if it's for a night, for 10 years. Even that night will fuck some stuff up. I promise you that. And then get right back up and keep trying. Get right back on the horse and try it again. Maybe not the same horse, but a better horse. Maybe that's all we need to be doing, is find out which is the right horse to be riding, which horse need to be breaking. But anyway, that's really what I wanted to kind of talk about tonight. And I really don't have anything other than that, other than the world around us is not doing very well. I know people where I work that are absolutely struggling. And I take it as a very serious responsibility that I want those people to be okay. I want those people to be glad that they have the job that they have. Because the real deal is once they get there, then they're ready for something more. And I think that's probably going to, I've been talking about it for a long time, but I have another book that I am trying to work on to think about, play with, and it's going to be called Something More. Because what we're doing doesn't offer us up an idea that allows us to be something more. Then why the hell are we doing it? See, I feel very powerful and very solid and very, very strong in my faith, my spirituality, where I come from, where I originate, and the power of my ancestors and the Desir. All those women, all of those mothers and grandmothers Well, I appreciate that, Brett. But all of those people are there just to pay their bills. But I feel obligated in just about everything I do to inspire somebody to reach for something more. And I hope that you guys do too. That's kind of where that's where it's always got to be, is helping somebody to reach for something more. But that also means that there are certain things that I say, think, and do that I say them, think them, and do them because I know that they work. I know that they work because we haven't created any new emotions. We haven't created any new, I don't give a shit how far back you go. We haven't created any new emotions. Maybe a billion different scenarios. We've not created any new emotions. It's pretty easy to understand how things break down amongst people. But like it says in Have 'em All, the sleeping wolf gets no sheep. So I suggest let's go out there and be wolves. Remember, wolves run in packs. So we got to take care of each other. So, yeah, Shanae, go ahead and put your Facebook page or put your candle thing up there. I don't know if she shares her Facebook page, Leroy. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure she don't. She's had some. There have been some lesser individuals that have tried to take a very public shot at her that, well, it didn't work, but it was still a pain in the ass to have to deal with it. So we kind of keep that way. Anyway, does anybody have any questions or comments or maybe some thought about what happened this week or anything else going on? Oh, anybody got anything groovy? No? So there's a book that Justin Garcia mentioned to me called Win Without Pitching. And it's a really good book. I bought the audio and I can't stand the guy's voice because he sounds like the guy that narrates the Christmas story. But the principle, the ideas in it are still pretty good. There's another book called The Way of Integrity, which I haven't finished reading. So, but the beginning of it is pretty good. Now, neither one of them are pagan or heathen books. They're books about the regular world and the world that we live in. But there's some real important ideas contained in both that I'm finding to be very influential in some of the things I'm doing. I read a little bit of The Way of Integrity tonight. And the way of integrity, it isn't simply just being honest. It's just, it's being in line with your purpose in this world. So if I'm going to be the wellspring from which you flow, I better clean out that water. So I'm going to get off here. I like the commentary that's going on the side here. I think this is good. Everybody getting to know each other. Everybody building something good. And that's what we want to see more of. Next week, I could be completely off my rocker and to be talking about how right and wonderful I am again. So this week is kind of a catch a breath, a calm before the storm, and let's get some things rolling. At any rate, I appreciate every one of you for being here. For those of you in the Gothi program, it'll be the same. I'll post the link on Patreon here in just a second, as soon as I get done with this. And I hope everybody has a good night. Like I said, tomorrow is Monday. Grab it by the nose and absolutely whip its ass. And yeah. Go out there and give it hell, guys. All right. I appreciate everybody that's been part of this. And I will see you again next Sunday at 7, hopefully with video, so I can look at my big ass head and see if I can make something special happen.